Hello everyone, we have news about Amber Heard from the ill-fated movie Aquaman 2. In the meantime, there is something to discuss, after all, according to recent reports. A fairly large-scale reshoot was started in the second Aquaman. The question is why all of a sudden, if the film, as reported, was ready a long time ago, not counting post-production. So that's what's most interesting. It turns out that now the actors have been returned to the set of all except, that's right, Amber Heard's means it can only be one thing. The Warners decided to change her to another actress. It's understandable why, after all. Just recently, Amber Heard's was recognized as the most hated celebrity in the USA. Agree, few people will want to have such a main actress in their film. Meanwhile, Heard's herself is amenable to appeal and is holed up in Spain, where, according to press reports, the actress simply ran away from Hollywood, which has now turned against her. Let's discuss all this right now. Well, now in order, and we'll probably start with the movie Aquaman 2, in general. Recently Warner Brothers has been hiding as much as possible any information related to this future blockbuster, so the information penetrated the network literally by a teaspoon, which in itself already speaks of a rather deplorable state of affairs. In short, it was already clear for a long time that the second Aquaman, as well as the leadership of W, was in a serious crisis, and just at the end of last week, it turned out that after much thought, the bosses of the company decided to start a reshoot of The Lost Kingdom. The YouTuber told us about it. Abdul, who has repeatedly shared really reliable insiders. And now Abdul said that Warner Brothers, for some reason, decided to arrange a reshoot of the Aquaman sequel. Well, you know how it happens, something was twisted for a long time and they couldn't do it right, so we urgently need to redo. Typical problem. Reshoots are already underway, and the most important thing is that they do not have Amber Heard playing the role of Measure. According to Abdul, almost everyone except Amber Heard returned to the set of Aquaman 2 for reshoots. We are also informed about new scenes that removed with the participation of the Measure. However, insiders were unable to determine the identity of the actress playing this character now, during the last round of filming. In addition, they believe that the identity of the mentioned actress is kept secret by Warner Brothers Discovery. That is, something with the Measure was being filmed right now for The Lost Kingdom, but at the same time, some other actress was not on the set. What does it mean to conclude it's not difficult? It means that while Heard is sitting in Spain, her role was given to someone else. Or more precisely another. Again, it must be understood that all this is insider information, even if they are quite reliable, which means you should not trust them 100%. On the other hand, the conversation that WB are not too eager to deal with Amber Heard. She herself has said more than once, they say she doesn't even know if her Measure will be in The Lost Kingdom at all. This is not to mention the fact that rumors about replacing Heard with another actress have appeared and have been discussed for 2 years, but if previously the WB ignored such requests from the public, then now it seems to have finally reached them. Of course, everyone hopes that Heard will really be removed from the second Aquaman, replacing, say, Emilia Clarke or Black Liv. It was both actresses who surfaced in discussions at one time or another, the one who could play the role of Measure instead of Amber Heard. What is the reason for such a sharp change of mood from the side WB? It seems to me there are several reasons at once. Firstly, as they say, the client has already matured. Well, because time is passing and the attitude of the public is not Amber changes, and apparently WB realized that no transfers of The Lost Kingdom will not help here, so we need to take more concrete measures to save our investments, in the amount of more than $200 million. Well, the second important point, this is that just recently Heard was recognized as the most hated female celebrity in the USA, which is equivalent to a sentence not only for her but also for those madmen who were still going to deal with Amber. So recently the Washington Post edition, that's by the way where Heard in 2018. I published my ill-fated article with which it all began, so these are the very. The Washington Post has now written that Amber Heard is now considered the most hated woman in the United States. The publication wrote that Heard is in the first negative place in the fairly well-known Q-score rating. I wonder what, by the way. Johnny Depp, who has always been actually quite high on this list, remained in the 8th position according to the most positive ratings for male stars. In general, soon as an old measure of checking sympathy known since the 60s, and this assessment turned out to be extremely crying for Amber, and what? The saddest thing about this was trumpeted to the whole world by her favorite publication in the Washington Post, so now many people believe that it is precisely such finally formed extremely negative trends towards Heard that caused the WB to finally decide to say goodbye to the actress forever. Again, I remind you that this information has not yet been officially confirmed, but by the way, the fact that Warner Brothers are filming, and at this time, Amber in Spain, where the actress moved to, all this speaks for itself. By the way, such a sharp change in the place of residence of Amber Heard, as well as the way of life, is also now being written by the press. That's what she claims, according to National Enquirer. A source said that Amber Heard knows that she is now disliked in Hollywood because Johnny Depp has the most influential players lining up to take him on the role, and most celebrities are firmly on his side. Having moved somewhere, for example to Spain, the actress hopes anew from herself. Forget about financial problems and start a new life with your daughter. She can imagine herself living in Spain where no one accuses her of condoning lies, but she will not get away with trying to escape from American justice. The source adds, however, these are just rumors. Meanwhile, it turned out earlier that Amber used a pseudonym to rent a house in Spain, according to reports. Amber Heard rented a house that belongs to a politician. At the same time, the actress used a pseudonym under the name of Martha Jane Canary. By the way, the local Spanish press writes that neighbors and locals in general speak well of the actress, that Amber tries not to stand out and, if possible, not to attract too much attention to herself. However, at the same time, many pay attention to the fact that she started her European voyage with a rather luxurious lifestyle, despite the fact that the actress has not yet paid the $8 million that, according to the jury's decision, she owes her ex-husband. At the same time, the truth is, I have a question: how then did justice allow her to file appellation for a solution? Virginia after a 4-month break. In a nutshell, I remind you that on October 11th, the actress team filed an appeal, which lists 16 grounds for appeal. According to the documents, the grounds for appeal include in general everything that could have been invented for such a long time, from the lack of clear and convincing evidence of actual malicious intent, to the refusal of the court of first instance to invalidate the damages awarded by the jury. Several points concern also accepted evidence that should not have been, as well as evidence that was not accepted but that should have been. In short, it is generally clear that the new Heard lawyers are trying to complicate and confuse the case as much as possible, and also trumpeting some super new evidence that they now allegedly possess. In addition, Amber's team insists that the alleged decision taken in London in 2020 is a decision against Johnny Depp, although not in favor of Heard, because she was then generally from the side of the process. She was the tabloid San. So the new lawyers of the actress said that the verdict should have been treated in Virginia as little no less evidence, and the fact that it was not done speaks of abuse and so on and so forth. With all this, however, it is not clear how and why Heard was given the opportunity to file an appellation at all, and not to pay money to Johnny Depp at the same time by the decision of the jury. Do you remember that even in the summer of Ascaradta decided that Amber must either cover her debt to Johnny Depp, or else make this amount as a kind of collateral deposit in general, call it what you want in as if she really intends to cover her obligations, and only after that she should have been allowed to appeal, and that's the question why the funds have not yet been transferred, and Amber Heard is already filing her appeal as if nothing had happened. Something is clearly not clear here. As for the general situation with the actress, apparently she has a good cash for a rainy day, which she is actually spending time very well now in Israel, then on Palma de Mallorca now here in a small Spanish town, so this NZ apparently heart is not going to give to anyone, and he keeps it strictly for his beloved, whereas those funds that the actress owes to her ex-husband, he will not see for a long time. Well, as for Amber Heard's career, it seems that she herself has already understood that she has nothing left to catch in Hollywood. It remains only to wait for the final decision of Warner on the second Aquaman, and if this is true, then Amber Heard's song seems to have been sung definitively. After all, to remove an actress from an already filmed and almost finished film is a clear indicator that it is as toxic as possible, and that only one